This is the Not All Love and Light podcast. I'm your host, Romy, and my intention is to share everything that I'm learning, what I'm unlearning, and everything in between. Because growth is not all love and light. It's shadow, it's rebirth, and choosing yourself over and over again. Thanks for being here. Let's get into today's episode. In the last couple of years, I've noticed that a big topic is the nervous system, understanding the nervous system, working with the nervous system, regulating your nervous system. Your nervous system is the communication between your brain and your body. It decides how safe you feel in an environment, whether it's in a conversation, whether it's in a space, whether it's in a relationship. That is what signals your body whether we are safe or unsafe. Every sensation, every impulse, every reaction, everything moves through the nervous system. Its one question is, am I safe right now? What you might not know is that it affects so many things in your life. Not only how safe you feel, but it affects your digestion. It affects your breathing, your muscle tension, your ability to focus, your tolerance to be able to feel close to people, and it affects how you show up in your relationships, including the one with yourself. You could be bombarded with information. You could learn so many things. You could consciously understand what you're reading, what you're learning, but unless you embody it and understand your nervous system and the system that is pretty much navigating everything in your life, it's going to be very difficult to just change your behavior. Because what happens is that you could change for a little bit, but it doesn't become something that you embody, that something that you do all the time. It's a huge disservice when people are on this healing journey and they don't learn to understand this part. In my program, in my coaching, this is the foundation. This is the first thing that I teach my clients because everything stems from that. Even doing affirmations, because you could stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself a bunch of things that you want to affirm. And you're going to cringe and you're going to feel weird and it's not going to feel true. But when you embody it and you allow your nervous system to truly believe what it is that you're affirming, that makes all the difference. You could manifest your greatest life because your nervous system is regulated and calm and believes it. When you have a regulated nervous system, you feel present. You feel responsive, not reactive. You feel contained. You don't get overly emotional. Yes, you feel emotions. Every single emotion is valid as a human, having a human experience, including anger and rage, but you don't let it completely consume you where you're acting like a child having a tantrum. The feelings arise, you observe them, you're aware, and then you're able to respond differently. When you have a dysregulated nervous system, you get stuck in trying to protect yourself. Some signs that your nervous system is dysregulated is if you have constant anxiety or you're hypervigilant all of the time, unnecessarily. If you easily shut down or if you feel numb when you react instead of respond, and then you regret it later because why did I just act like that? If you have difficulty resting, even if you're extremely tired, you can't calm down. If you feel completely overwhelmed by every single thing in your life, every task is a daunting task. If you have chronic tension, chronic pain, chronic tightness in your body, that could also be a sign of having a dysregulated nervous system. Your nervous system, all it tried to do since you were a child was try to survive. It learned these patterns, it learned these reactions, these ways of being just by trying to survive. Because whatever situations they were built on, that's what helped. There's a really good book. It's called The Body Keeps a Score. It took me a while to read it because some of the stuff in there It's really heavy, especially when you experience trauma yourself. I read this a couple years ago, and I know that it was pretty difficult for me to get through. I don't know if I might have a different experience if I try to read it now. Wanted to give you that disclaimer, but it's a really good book to understand your body. And your body remembers. Your mind might forget because the subconscious job is also to protect you. So it'll make you forget certain things, but your body is responding in a way where, why am I so nervous in a crowded room? Why am I anxious all of a sudden? Why do I have to speak so fast to try to get my point across? The body records experiences through sensation, how things feel when you're in a certain situation, in a certain environment. And trauma doesn't have to be this huge thing that happens to you. People underestimate what trauma actually means. They think that just because they weren't abused or they have this huge traumatic event happen to them, that they have no trauma. I can't tell you how many times people have gone to one of my retreats, and on the first day, they mention how they feel a little out of place and they feel bad because they don't have trauma like everybody else that's there has trauma. By the second day, they're crying because of how much trauma they actually have. For example, if one day you were leaving the house and you forgot your favorite toy purse, just an example, and you remember when you're in the car and you let your parent know, I left my purse. I want to go back and get it. And they tell you that's not important. We're not going back. Get over it. In that moment, your body learns that the sensations and the state that you're in that moment gets recorded in your nervous system. And you might build the belief that you don't matter, your things don't matter, you're unheard, you're unseen, you're not important. It's not this huge dramatic event, but is something that caused some type of trauma response in the body. The nervous system adapts to what it experiences repeatedly. So just think about, if you're in situations where you repeatedly get treated a certain way or you repeatedly experience certain things, that is all being recorded in your nervous system. And over time, you start thinking it's just the way you are. It's your personality. You don't understand why you do certain things, why you react a certain way, why your body that you cannot control starts doing things like heart palpitations, or you start shaking your leg. You don't understand it, but that's just the way you are. I'm just an anxious person. I'm bad at resting. I can't calm down. I can't meditate. I'm an overthinker. I overthink everything. Those could be nervous system patterns that you could break. Healing happens when the nervous system experiences enough safety, enough consistency, and containment so that what it normally would expect were to happen changes. It almost feels like common sense, right? My responses make a little more sense in these situations. And it comes through that consistency, that safety, and that containment in order for the nervous system to be like, oh, wait, this experience is changing what I believe. And there are certain practices that I teach my clients that I feel have been such a huge part of my own healing journey, and it's helped my clients so much. I want to share them with you. Emotional freedom technique, also known as EFT, is an incredible way for people to learn how to regulate their emotions, allowing them to feel safe. And what it does is that when an emotion comes up and you start tapping certain areas of your body, similar to acupuncture, you become present in that moment and you allow your emotions to arise. But then you're giving your body that safety, that even though you have these emotions, you still feel safe. And this is not something that you just do once. You continue to do it. It takes consistency and practice, breath work. Depending on the rhythm and the pattern, it could bring up certain things in the body, but doing slow breathing calms your body. What happens when you start breathing really fast or breathing really heavy? You go into fight or flight. Your body thinks you're under attack. This happens when you go into a cold plunge. The first thing that happens when you step into that cold is fight or flight. You want to get out. You're trying to look for safety. Learning to breathe calms your body, calms your nervous system, calms your mind, and you're able to sit in this cold for a significant amount of time if you remove the mental aspect of it. Breath work is incredible for the nervous system regulation. Movement of any type. I love yoga. Yoga is actually how I began my healing journey. I didn't realize that these practices would unlock things in my body, right? We store a lot of trauma, especially in our hips. But even if you're just lifting weights, going to the gym, even walking, movement helps release stored stress from the muscle and from the fascia. Your body will recalibrate and allows that space. It's so important to listen to your body and see what it is that you are being pulled towards, whether it's even a walk. People underestimate walking so much, and that is such a great workout. Massage and body work. I have a great episode with Lori and Melise from Vitality Massage that we talk about the benefits of this, going deep into the body to release certain things. Also, having someone slowly touch you. People are not comfortable with touch. If you get on high alert, you feel unsafe. That practice of allowing yourself to be in a space where you're getting a massage or you're allowing someone to slowly touch you, obviously consensually, your nervous system learns to soften. The more that you repeat, the more that you're consistent with these practices, even if it's on your own, havening is a great nervous system regulator. What that is you're slowly touching yourself on your arms, your body, and just feeling safe. It could just look as you putting on lotion. That's something that I do sometimes. If you're in a meeting and you feel dysregulated, you could put on lotion and slowly massage your hands, and you're actually regulating yourself while you're putting on lotion. Nobody could tell what you're doing because you don't want to sit there and start tapping all over the place because that would just probably look weird. Time and place, time and place. But this is a great thing that you could actually do in public that no one would actually know what you're doing. It's creating safety. You need to feel safe. As you regulate your nervous system, you become less exhausted because you're not on high alert all of the time. You have more energy, you have more clarity, you're able to uphold boundaries more easily. You don't feel so crazy all the time. I know what it is to be in a place where it's almost like you're watching yourself from the outside, acting in a way that doesn't seem like yourself. Consciously, you know this is not who you are, but there's no control. You get the anxiety, you feel the panic attacks coming, the overthinking. This work requires patience. There's no rush. It's been years since your nervous system has been operating in this way, in this state. You have to give yourself grace when you're on this journey. You have to give yourself patience. But the more that you practice this, the more aware you become and you start catching yourself. You start naming what you're feeling instead of being out of control. It takes a lot of work. And that's why a lot of people do not do this. It's not fun. You have to be honest. You have to be consistent. And you have to be patient. That's part of the work. And it's 100% worth it. Thanks for joining me today on today's episode. It is greatly appreciated. If this episode resonated, hit something within you, share it, subscribe, leave a review so we could keep reaching the right people. And remember, it's not all level night.